Well, hello, boa noite. Carl Munson here on the Portugal show from Expats Portugal, and we have an expat chat lined up for you. And as you can see along the bottom of the screen there, this show may well contain laughter yoga. So stand by for that. We don't know when that's going to be a feature of the show tonight. So stay tuned. And I think you'll have an unusual and very pleasant experience. And it's coming from my guest tonight, Joanne Helms. So here she is on the screen tonight to join me for an expat chat. How are you, Joanne?
I'm doing well. I'm set and prepared. I've got my earphones in case you feel that I need them.
Oh, perfect. You're so well prepared.
Yes, yes. I've been prepared 3 times today with all the time changes and being in a different country. So
yeah, well, it's very good of you. And sorry to have kind of, put you to that trouble, because you imagined you were joining the Good Morning Portugal show, didn't you? And then you've got a time difference. And it's
Yes.
third time lucky for sure, isn't it? You've got set up for the third time, and we're actually very
Today and I'm with you.
So there you go. And we'll be talking, as we do in this expat chat, to Joanne about her experience of Portugal, where she lives in Portugal, why she chose it, the journey to Portugal, which I think may be especially interesting tonight because we nearly missed our start time because Joanne was telling me about her love of the United States, California in particular, I think. So that's probably quite a good place to start. It seems you're a pretty comprehensively traveled person, a woman of the world, Joanne.
Yes. And I also carry humanity inside my heart. And that's why whenever I think of what am I going to do next in my life, I always think of something that everybody would benefit from. And I did stumble across laughter yoga 16 years ago. I haven't found anything better yet because laughter, well, it has to be something that some service that I can offer that would be good for every single human being on this planet. Actually, Carl, since the last time we spoke, I've taken up professional singing lessons. Now, I'm not going to give you a demo because I've only had 8 lessons and I don't want to hurt anybody's ears. But
that's more than most people, to be fair.
Sorry?
That's 8 lessons more than most people have in their lifetime.
Yeah, well, I'm 50 years old and I keep rediscovering myself and thinking, oh, well, maybe I am going to become a professional singer at this middle of my life. So my teacher says there's potential, which I never thought I had any potential for singing. I went to the lessons because I've created an online show for children with fairies, and my friend plays a harp and I've got little fairies and I sing songs and tell a story. So I thought we better do this properly. And I started singing lessons and it's just created a revolution. So maybe I'm going to transition from laughing to singing because music is definitely something that unites us. And that's what we were talking about. That's what I fell in love with in California. There was good music. There was wonderful music. But we're talking about a long time ago. I've been in Portugal for 25 years. So
have you? So which part of Portugal are you in? Ordinarily.
I'm in Coimbra now.
Yeah.
But my first destination was Lisbon. I'm not really a city person, but well, people come to this country for several reasons. It can be business or pleasure, but some women, sometimes we get pulled in by a Latin lover. So of course, that had to be my case. So yes, I met this Portuguese man, beautiful, the Humphrey Bogart kind of beautiful, with that sadness that you want to save. So Portuguese, you couldn't believe it. Just so incredibly Portuguese. And he was working with my father, who works in the film business. And his dream was to be a sculptor. He was even an artist, Portuguese and an artist. What was I thinking?
Yeah,
right. So there's an art school in Lisbon. So that's where we ended up. And I lived there for 2 years until I was literally too pregnant to get through the door. I mean, literally because I lived in the ancient part of Lisbon, which didn't fall down with that massive earthquake. The whole rest of the city did and was rebuilt. But Alfama is, well, it's medieval, and it was even more so then. It was a place where all the, well, drug addicts and hookers lived.
Nice.
Drug addicts, hookers, and clowns, because, yeah, there's a clown school there, Chapitão. If you come to Portugal, these are landmarks. These are places you have to visit. You just go up to the castle, Castelo São Jorge, which is the peak of Lisbon, where you can see the whole city and the river. And then you trottle down through the very, very narrow streets. You will find the clown school, which actually was created by a clown to save youth from drugs.
Wow.
But now it costs a fortune to join it, so it's a bit elite now. And then there's the sculpture school. So I ended up arriving in Lisbon that way, and then got myself preggy. And yeah, the staircases and the rooms. I mean, we rented a room that you could not stand up in. It was like the top of a house, and rain coming in through every corner. And
So romantic.
yes. And then one of the other clowns that I worked with, he lived up near Coimbra, and he said, "I'll find you a house to rent. Come on up." And I went up to Coimbra, and I was working as a clown throughout my pregnancy. And then the Latin lover story ended as a lot of them do, where, you know, the Latin people, if anybody is coming to Portugal because they've fallen in love with a Latin man, well, here are the little things you might want to watch out for.
Oh, this is such good advice. Thank you, Joanne. We're off to a cracking start tonight. We will get back to Portugal and Coimbra at some stage, but this seems really important. Some things you should remember if you fall in love with a Latin lover. Go on, Joanne.
Yeah, so he had left Portugal when he was 7 years old because his parents were immigrants. They went to Germany and worked in the factory. So when I met him, he had hair down to his knees. He spoke several languages, played the djembes, and was very much a hippie. But coming back home, you know, the culture, he was from a very tiny little village in Alentejo. So I know all about Alentejo. And when I met his family, I really thought I'd slipped into another dimension, because no, honestly, because like they all looked like little olives. They were all dressed in black, and they were all round, and they were very short. And the houses, because they didn't have the machinery to cut through the hills, the houses are built on the hills as they go down. So you go through the front door, and that leads to the next room, to the next room, and none of the rooms have any windows except the very last one that goes out into the garden.
Wow, sounds like the Hobbits.
Yes, completely like the Hobbits, and lovely, lovely people.
I'm sure.
And all they did when we were there, because they're very hardworking, but when we would come and visit, is eat. There was 2 kitchens, one kitchen with all the brand new stuff that you never sat in and never touched, and then the blackened kitchen with the aluminium dented pots that you spent most of your time in, around the table, eating and eating. So what happened to me is the culture kind of seeps back in, and his mind got narrower and narrower and narrower until, you know, I got completely strangled, and I wasn't allowed to wear what I wanted to wear. If I put lipstick on, he would have a jealousy fit. And also there was the nasty thing about most Latin cultures. There's a thing called pride, and men are not supposed to be supported by women, and men are supposed to earn more money than women. And he didn't believe in any of that because he was a hippie, but it came back. And so then it got slightly more and more aggressive. It's really funny when I read Joanne Rowling's book. I was like, she's called Joanne, so am I. She fell in love with a Portuguese guy, so did I. She ended up supporting him, so did I. And he ended up getting nasty on her. Same thing happened to me.
Who's this? Who is this woman?
What?
Who is this woman, Joanne Rawlings?
J.K. Rowling, the lady that...
Okay, J.K. Rowling, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
she...
I didn't realise she had the same story. Oh, wow.
Sorry?
I didn't realise she had the same trajectory story as you.
Exactly the same. There's only one slight twist at the end, and that is she left and went back to England with her preggy belly and left the guy. And I wanted to hang on in there because I wanted my child to have a dad. Even though he'd become quite impossible, I stuck it out for 4 years, and then it was a question of live or die. And then I was going to go back home, but then I thought, well, my daughter will never see her dad. So I then went to the bank and asked for a loan to buy a ruin in the middle of the forest. And they said, "What's your job?" And I said, "Well, I'm a clown." And they said, "All right then." They wouldn't give a clown a loan today, but in those days they did. They gave me a loan, and I bought this 400-year-old stone ruin in the middle of the forest. Went there with my 4-year-old child, with the Latin lover still threatening to burn the place down in the middle of the night. I don't know how he'd burn it down. There wasn't much left of it. I mean, at the time that I bought it. And then succeeded to actually starve. I think that probably wouldn't be possible for anybody for that to happen. Well, maybe it could happen to one of you lovely people who want to come to Portugal. But basically, I went to the tribunal and I said, "How do I get some,
food?
Child support?"
Right.
And they told me, "Well, it's your fault you left him." Oh, right. I think it's modernized now. My daughter's 22, but the only way I could actually get some money is if I went and knocked on his door and he yelled and screamed at me. So that didn't really work. So I did actually starve and ended up living off weed. So I know all about weed.
Oh, that's such an unfortunate time for Joanne to seize up there. But what an amazing story! I'm sure you'll agree. Let's give Joanne a chance to join us again. She's frozen for me. I don't know. Oh, she's back again.
Just a glitch. So, anyways, Carl, this is where it all started. So, I got really, really sick from starvation.
Oh. I thought we were gonna get some foraging tips as well there for a minute. Oh no, you're back. You are back. Yeah.
Yes. And then the doctors didn't have a solution for me, and that's when I found laughter yoga. So I recommend every human being to practice laughter yoga because so far it's gotten me through everything in my life. It got me through that. I healed all my my health problems, and then it became my profession. Sorry. And recently, what happened? Just in the last 3 years, 2017, my house and land burnt down. Laughed my head off. 2018, a strange hurricane came through, and everything I'd rebuilt went over, and caravans.
Hurricane, yeah.
2019, my son got bitten by a poisonous snake and spent a month in hospital and nearly died. And 2020, well, we have COVID. But here I am, weathering it all. I think, Carl, we have to have a little giggle now before I carry on.
Are we going into the laughter yoga now?
Let's just do a little giggle because I want to. I think it's if I'm talking about laughter yoga a little bit, I think I need to demonstrate.
You do. Okay, so before we do that, let's say hello to everyone who's tuned in because we've got some people who are riveted by your story, I think. And let's just.
I'll shut up.
No, it's absolutely fine. Have a sip on your tea, and we'll say hello to everybody. And this is their cue to get ready. Loosen any tight clothing, slip the gym jams on, whatever, smoking jacket, and to get in the mood for a bit of laughter yoga. And that includes you, Safiro. Boa noite to you in Porto. In Sintra, hey man, I think you heard the word hippie and is saying, hey man, to me. Druba in Sintra has got the most beautiful offer for explorers who want to come to Portugal and need a place to stay. I'll mention that tomorrow on the morning show. What a lovely offer, Druba. You're such an amazing person. Mark Rigby, star of our Portugal playlist most recently, boa noite from a rather wet Pavoa. Although better to have rain rather than drought, absolutely. Hola, a simple hola from Carlos Ribeiro and from Eduardo Santos. Hola, Carl and Joanne. Boa noite from Brazil. Fantastic. And you are curious to learn about laughter yoga. You'll only have to wait a couple more minutes, Eduardo, for that. Do join in. Eric J's here from United States. Boa noite. Sorry I missed last night's live broadcast. Was traveling to family for upcoming holiday. What holiday is that, Eric? Only kidding. I know a little bit about that now. I even know the Portuguese, which is the Feliz Dia de Ação Graças. That's Happy Thanksgiving Day, which will be obviously sharing with everybody tomorrow morning on the show. We have Hermão Rodrigo de Saboia. I'm from Brazil. God bless you. God bless you too, Rodrigo. Great to hear from you. Joanne, you're fantastic. Loved it. We're not done yet, Mongo fan one, but that's really kind of you. Hola from Calgary, Alberta, from Zim Sean there. We've got Rodrigo saying hi again. And forgive me for being a bit slow off the mark when you were talking about Joanne Rowling. I only know her as J.K. Rowling. And the Portugal connection is amazing with her, isn't it? Anna Lucia finding you funny already. I think probably that was going to the bank and telling them what you did for a living for your mortgage. That made me laugh. For a moment, I thought you were talking about me. She says people often call me Anna Banana. And I use that in UK as when I say my name is Anna, they think I'm saying Emma. Then I have to say, no, it rhymes with banana. And they probably say, what, Emma rhymes with banana? And on it goes. Jeff Leyland, hola, boa noite. Hello, Jeff. Stop it, Carl. What was I doing? What was I doing? Boa noite from New Jersey. Hey, Maria C., hello to you. Joanne should write a book. She's a survivor and an inspiration. I think that's probably on the cards. We'll find out more later. Still in the Cotswolds, says Jeff. You'll be here soon enough. Hola, boa noite. And yes, rest in peace, Diego Maradona, of course. Passed away at only 60. Lost today from Oregon QPR. Good evening to you. Yeah, sad loss to the world of football. From the world of football. Philomena. We'll have a Philomena Friday next Friday with Philomena Pascal. Hola, boa noite a todos. Doreen Reyes. Hola, you are amazingly strong, positive, and resilient woman. I think she's talking to you and not me, Joanne. Thanks, bro, says Truba. And here we go. I didn't realize watching a live interview. Haha, I'm still loving this interview, says Alex. Yeah, you have the chance to ask. It's like we've transported you in a time machine, Alex. So you can actually get involved and do a little bit of laughter yoga now. We have put a warning on the screen. You shouldn't do this if you're driving a vehicle or operating heavy machinery or flying an aircraft. Or should you, Joanne? Over to you.
Well, I do practice very subtle laughter yoga when I'm overtaking an enormous truck, but not the kind that takes you into a laughter fit, the kind that just helps you calm down and not have a panic attack, sort of like as I'm going, as I'm overtaking. Yeah. So yes, definitely not when I'm trying to get up the stairs with a fridge or something like that, because it is a muscle relaxant and you'll drop it. So there are a few circumstances in which it's not a good idea to be practicing yoga.
All right. So, but you're going to give us a live demo now with that.
Right. Well, I'm so happy to hear from all of you, and I'm so sorry for being so rude and blabbering on and on and on. And if you have questions, Carl will see them come in, and I'll stop talking and answer those questions straight away. I don't know. Let me see. Am I on? Yes. Did everybody hear what I was saying, Carl?
We can absolutely hear you. I just put you on the screen on your own, but maybe I should be here and laugh alongside you.
Well, I would appreciate it.
I'll stay here.
Okay, So a laughter yoga session with a group of people has music and dancing and lots of games. And the object of the game is to eventually end up on the floor in an enormous fit of laughter, a collective fit of laughter, which gives you the sensation that you haven't got a care in the world and that everybody loves everybody and they're all in nirvana. And that is something I enjoy doing and I haven't done since March because for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So but you can, I do offer laughter coaching online, and people have come and just contacted me and we've done a bit of laughter yoga. So the most important thing to remember is that you don't really have to laugh because your brain can't tell the difference. You're going to get the benefits. It's going to keep you young. It's going to fill your body with oxygen. It's going to boost your immune system. So I think that's quite important.
Absolutely.
So, and actually, it's even better if you don't try and force the laughter, because if you try and force the laughter, then it's less likely it will get real. The best thing is you breathe in, everybody breathe in with me, you too, Carl. So just breathe in, and then just subtly go ha 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 ha. Sorry, I've been doing this for years. I just go straight into real.
You have big lungs. I can hear that.
Don't get intimidated. Everybody transitions at their own time. You can do laughter yoga all day while you're cleaning your house, while you're doing your taxes, whatever. You can practice, and there's lots of ways to practice. Yeah, especially when you're doing your taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Carl, we're going to do that again, and don't be intimidated if I just fluctuate into real laughter. It's just, you know, I've been doing it for many years. It's just
okay.
Very naturally. Okay, so here we go. Breathe in. And ha 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 ha. Well, hey. You managed to have a giggle and you're a beginner.
Yes, a beginner for sure. A beginner.
The reason your body does that is, well, you don't really need a reason to laugh. But if you start laughing, it's always for a reason. It's baggage. Basically, we're all full of baggage, traumas from our life that are stashed away somewhere in our body. And if we give our body just a chance to start doing some catharsis, it will jump on board and it will go. It will go. So, you know, people say, oh, but how do you make businessmen laugh? I mean, they're the easiest ones. The people that seem to be most stressed, stuck up, stiff, in a box, after doing a lot of deep breathing and clapping hands like ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. I get them breathing, I get them moving and dancing and being playful. Then it doesn't matter what they think of me. They can think I'm absolutely mad and that this is totally crazy. Once they go ha, 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 their bodies take over. It's a coup. And all that, yeah, it's a physical coup of your mind, and you just let go, and you just, you know, then you can't stop yourself. And they don't even know why they're laughing. So much easier than that entire life I did of comedy and stand-up comedy and all that stuff. That's hard work. Laughter yoga is a piece of cake.
Oh, as in, like, trying to make people laugh is very different to bringing about the unconscious or subconscious urge to laugh in people.
Well, you know, I used to believe that you need a sense of humor in order to laugh. Now I realize that if you laugh, if you practice laughter, your sense of humor grows. And then you find everything funny. Even things you used to find frustrating or disappointing or downright humiliating or just anything like that. You know, everything becomes a gag. Like one of the things that you will all find when you come to this country, or if you're already in this country, bureaucracy can be quite overwhelming. I'll just give you one simple example. So I walked in with my baby and said, I want to call her Zara. And they looked at me Zara, I don't think that's going to be allowed. I said, well,
On the list.
there is a shop in Coimbra called Zara, so I think I should be able to call my daughter Zara. So she took the big book
The
of
book of
female
names.
and she said, nope, no can do. And chucked me out without a name for my child. And then I happened to be visiting the Hobbits, as I mentioned, in the south, in Alentejo. So I thought, I'll try here. And I went into the registry office. I said, I want to call my daughter Zara. And they took the same book out. Yep, no problem. And then they're writing it all down. And then, I was saying I live in Coimbra. Oh, no, you can't do it here. You have to do it in Coimbra. And I said, oh, no, Zara's not allowed in Coimbra. And they looked at me and said, well, it's, national rules. If we allow Zara, they allow Zara. I said, could you write me a letter? And they said, no, don't be silly. Go back and tell them that Zara is allowed in Portugal. I went back. Oh, you don't want to do. Don't ever go into a bureaucratic office in this country and tell them they're wrong, because inside their culture, there's a thing called pride, and they'll make your life very difficult if you do that. Be very humble. And in this culture, people are used to saying, please, 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 thank you, thank you, thank you. Here, when a Portuguese person goes into a cafe, they have a lower status than the person in the cafe. And we go into the cafe, oh, I want one of those, and that's when you get into trouble. You have to blend with the culture and stay very humble, else your life is going to be miserable. Anyways,
amazing cultural insights tonight. I forgot to say something earlier on. This show completely supports the right to reply, and we obviously have heard your account of your relationship with your partner, which I don't doubt in any way at all. But that the gentleman concerned is welcome to come on another occasion. Probably tonight's not the night, and to talk of his beloved Alentejo and the Portuguese culture from his point of view. Just to make that clear, that everyone has an opportunity to speak from their point of view and their experience. So I just felt like I needed to say that, and also pride. That, I mean, surely that's a human thing, but you think it's especially prevalent and dealt with in a particular way here in the Latin cultures and in Portugal?
I have a very good friendship with him today. I spoke with him I spoke with his second wife today, and we actually talked about how much we love his whole family down there, especially Shanna. Shanna is the godmother of my child, and Shanna is short for Feliciana, and my daughter's second name is Felicia, which was in honor of Feliciana. Lovely. And he is not an arrogant or proud person. It's not that Portuguese people are arrogant or proud people. They're not. They're very sweet people. It's that it's sort of expected of you. Like, for example, if you say, oh, your child is such a lovely child, it's expected of you to say, oh, he's a total brat. And if you don't, it makes you people think that you are showing off, and people think that you are making yourself special. So they love their children, but they tend to do that. I'm talking about the culture that I found when I got here. Things have changed a lot in 25 years, and now parents they don't speak like that because, well, they're just more open-minded now. The whole country has flowers. I mean, I travel a lot, it's true, and I always thought I'd leave Portugal, but not anymore, because whenever I go somewhere else, I miss this place like hell. I just have to come home. It's just, I think, actually, I started the paperwork to become Portuguese, so I'm going to be.
Very good. And of course, it's connected, this pride thing and the archetypal sort of qualities of nations are a lot to do with that trauma thing you were talking about, right? It's not even us, is it? It's like these things live on through people, and they need to be healed and transformed and dealt with, don't they? And what better place to do that in relationships with other people? That's where you need your laughter yoga.
Yeah, And laughter yoga was my salvation. The very first time I used laughter yoga was when I knew we was coming up for a meeting about our child, and our meetings always were very unpleasant. So I thought, well, I'll try some laughter yoga. So here's something you can try. If you know that you are going to have a very unpleasant conversation with somebody, time it 10 minutes before they arrive or before it's going to happen on the phone, and then you can do it with a very stiff face. You can experience any emotion that you want to experience while you're doing laughter yoga. And I just was sitting in my living room. I was just going ha 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 ha. This sounds a little bit more like a machine gun. Okay, so I was just breathing deeply. This is something that you can do, for example, under your breath. If you are in any bureaucratic office, you can actually do this without sound, so that you don't lose your cool, and stay patient and be very polite and be very humble, and then give the person a compliment. That works very well. Say how beautiful your blouse is or something like that. Because Portuguese people, well, they are a culture that are very careful and cautious. And so they want to make sure that you are friend and not foe before they open their heart to you. But as soon as they get the inkling, just the inkling that you're friend, then the doors open like this big. And then they're so loyal. They're your friends forever. I mean, I know that I'm stereotyping here, and every human being is a world. I'm just sharing my experience. I didn't finish my Zara story.
Oh,
So
sorry, I interrupted you. But you're right. I mean, it's true. We are talking in generalizations, but that's inevitable on a show of this kind, because we're talking about your experience, and it's you can't go through each and every individual experience you've had of each person, and I think it's fair enough. People will understand that you've drawn conclusions and have got generalizations. It's Friday, everybody.
Yeah, well, I've been talking that long. We started on Wednesday, already Friday.
So sorry, your Zara story.
Well, yes. So when I went back in there and I made the mistake of saying you're wrong, then they made me sit there for about 3 or 4 hours while they made loads of phone calls. And, I was the last man standing in the office. And then she finally said, well, since the second name is Felicia, which is obviously feminine, we are going to allow it. And then she handed me over the birth certificate, and she'd taken out the Z out of my daughter's surname, because the surname.
Oh, it's a cliffhanger again. I'm sure it'll come back as we've experienced with our last couple of glitches and freezes. In case you're wondering, whilst I'm waiting for Joanne to come back. Yes. Oh, here we go. You're back.
Her surname is Balthazar, one of the 3 kings. Wow. And being an artist, I wanted my daughter to have.
I'm going to do some laughter yoga while I'm waiting.
Yeah, whenever we disappear, just everybody just giggle until we're back.
Yep.
She's called Zara Balthazar, and she was born on the 25th of April, which is the most important holiday here in Portugal.
Cool.
I'll tell you why in a moment. But yes, they took the Z out of Balthazar just to spite me, and they put an S. I said, no, look at her father's passport. It's got a Z on it. It says, yeah, but now there's been an orthographic change, and we don't do Z's in Balthazar anymore. So what? Anyway, she still signs her name Zara Balthazar with Z's. But yes, do not create grudges. This is also, unfortunately, I mean, I love Portugal, and I believe the Portuguese people have many more qualities and defects, but grudges is one of the most unpleasant. Every Portuguese family have grudges, so they pass on to the next generations.
Oh.
I had my share of those. Oh, I won't go into that. It's too sad. I wanted to go into the 25th of April.
See?
Did you know that on the 25th of April, I'm trying to remember what year it was.
74.
74. I was going to say 84, but it was 74. I was 4 years old. Yes, the dictator asked the military to, attack the revolution, and the military was a small country. The soldiers like, what? Kill me, brothers and sisters. So the military went against the dictator, and they marched around Lisbon with carnations in their guns. I mean, you can't get more hippie than that, than actual soldiers marching around with flowers in their guns. I mean, it's just beautiful. Just for that reason alone, this country is worth living in. I think they deserve our respect for not only that, but there's a lot of historical moments that are to praise. Historical moments about creating peace instead of war, and coming together, and and I know that at this time of night we have a few Americans watching us, and Americans do love Europe culture. Oh, this is the land of palaces, of kings, of queens, of stories, of tragedies. Oh yes, we have a fantastic tragedy here in Coimbra, that Doña Pedro Inés. Oh, that's a fantastic story. I have so many stories, Carl, but you'll have to butt in when you want to say something.
Well, it's not so much me. It's not so much me. We'll get questions coming in from our audience here. But I do want we must go into that story because it is a special one.
Can I just tell that one very briefly or another day?
Yeah, of course. No, carry on, and then we'll come back to some questions.
Yeah, because you did want me to tell you about my story, and I still have a lot to tell about my story. But let me just tell you about Pedro Inés in like a few lines. So you know how princes are supposed to marry princesses, but sometimes they fall in love with the wrong person. So he fell in love with, one of the princess's ladies, and the king wouldn't have it, right? So anyways, after when he became king, she'd already died. He had her dug up, the skeleton of the person that he loved, dressed as a queen, coronated, sat next to him, and had everybody come and kiss her bony fingers. Now you can't get more Shakespearean than that.
That is devotion, isn't it? That is devotion right there.
That is devotion, and yes, this is a land of emotions, and emotions are wonderful, and we like to enjoy all emotions, not only the pretty ones. We like to enjoy suffering and pain and anger and tragedy and all of that. If we didn't enjoy those emotions, we wouldn't watch a horror movie, or a drama. And emotions can be very toxic if they get stuck in your body. So that is where laughter yoga comes in. I always bring it back in.
Very good.
So laughter is for transitioning, Enjoy all your emotions. If you feel that you've gotten stuck on one, then you can use laughter yoga to transition. Can I give a little example, Carl?
Please do. The floor is...
Say you really want to throttle him because he's done it again, left the lid up on the toilet, or didn't close or something like that, So what you do is you roll your hands up and you make a little, you breathe in, making a kind of a snake sound. So you go, hold your breath, and then you go, I didn't wait for you. Sorry, Carl. We'll do it again. Okay. So snake in, go. You can do it like that or like that. Can I see your hands? Yeah, no, you're just such a sweet man. I can't see an ounce of anger in your face. Can you try and be a little bit more angry, Carl?
Yeah, there, I've got it. Now.
Everybody who's watching us, let's practice this to use when you really need it. Okay, so clench those fists, breathe in through your teeth like a snake. Hold it, put your cheeks out, explode and go.
I feel better towards Vodafone already. I can't believe I said that.
No, I always say we need to be a little crazy so we don't go completely nuts, because that's how people
That's
do
really
end
good.
up. Yeah, that's
That-
how we end up going completely nuts, because we hold it all in until our brains just blow a fuse, and then there's no
yeah,
coming back.
that's
So yeah,
right. Especially at the moment. That's really good advice. That's really good advice because people are
as
so
long as
serious, understandably, at the moment.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have a lot of strong emotions at the moment with everything that's going on, and laughter yoga can really help us with that. And you can use it for any of those emotions. You just take the emotion, give it a sound, the sound that you think that emotion deserves, and then give it some physical expression. So for example, if you're anxious, if you're nervous, it would be something like that, wouldn't it? And it would sound something like, oh, Helms, oh, or something like that. And then you just take that, oh, and then you just take it into laughter. That's all our body wants. It wants a voice, and it wants to express itself. And then we can transition. We've done our catharsis.
Yeah.
We can move on to a better, higher emotion, higher frequency,
Well, yes,
which
the body is real, isn't it? The body is not the thinker. The thinking's in the mind, isn't it? And the body, if you're in your body, you can't be in your thoughts and drama and all that sort of stuff, can you? It's fantastic. I totally get what you're talking about. We have Doreen is simply saying nothing there. That's quite profound in its own way, that message, Doreen. Thank you for that.
he's speechless. Oh wait,
Yeah.
he had something.
Tony Nunes, Anna is 100% correct about grudges in many Portuguese families. It is indeed sad. Wise people like Anna herself are the antidote. So there you go. You could be working for the government at this rate. The carnation revolution is known because a florist started to put carnations in the gun barrels of soldiers that were walking by her flower shop. So such a beautiful motif. Nuno, Miranda, good evening to you. Nuno, it's great to have you again here with us. In my opinion, we should celebrate the 25th of November just for a simple reason. If we didn't have the 25th of November, we had a communist regime today. Yes, it was the overthrow of a plot, wasn't it, in 75 on the 25th of November. Many don't know what happened after the 25th of April. Yeah, it was all about the honeymoon after that point, wasn't it? And yes, you're quite right, Nuno. It's worth remembering these things. 25th of April, also my daughter's birthday, says Philomena, as is Oregon QPR's birthday. It's a truly lovely day, and what a great day to have a birthday in Portugal, for sure. We have some laughter from Dominique Core, and an hola from Stila Kuhn, Washington, USA, from Joe. Good evening to you, Joe. Lovely to have you here. And a question, a little bit away from the expat chat and Coimbra, but a good question nonetheless from a David Abitbo. What do you say is the difference between Brazilian and European Portuguese, Joanne?
Well, it's very funny that you should say that, because the Portuguese from Portugal used to be more like the Brazilian, but then Spain conquered and Portuguese wasn't allowed. And so everybody started speaking under their breath so that nobody would realize that they're speaking Portuguese instead of Spanish. They're very similar languages. And that's how the whole language kind of imploded on itself. And it was really funny when I got to this country, because I grew up in Spain. When I got to this country, I could read the newspaper, but I couldn't understand a word anybody was saying. And I realized that if I just spoke Spanish as if I'd had one too many, just slurred my Spanish, it became Portuguese.
That is such a controversial thing to say, Joanne. I'm standing by for some serious comments.
Serious. Somebody's going to wag their finger at me.
Yeah.
But I was very lucky, because I moved to Alfama, and I gathered all the children to do theatre with the children. Children are very patient, and they taught me how to speak Portuguese, and I can speak Portuguese like a local. And I prefer Portuguese to Brazilian, because for me, it's very romantic. It's very soft. It's very rhythmic. Like, it's really difficult to sing rap in Spanish, but you can do rap with Portuguese. It's very easy to do poetry and everything. I go to Brazil every year, and Brazilian is musical, but it's very loud and it is extrovert, and Portuguese is introvert. The Portugal is introvert. Portuguese is more like French. It's a language for lovers. There's a lot of in it, and it's a soft language. I'm in Spain right now, and when I go into a cafe, my ears hurt because I'm so used to that subtle in Portugal. It's a beautiful language.
But with the Brazilian distinction, I think Safiro's comment to that, the difference between Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese is the language. I think only joking. I think that's what he's saying there. But I agree with you. It's a very romantic and softly spoken language and mysterious. But then when the Brazilians speak, there's a kind of sexy lilt to it, I think. You know, it kind of opens up again, doesn't it? Underneath this.
Holiday, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very holiday. It's very kind of like tropical and holiday. Of, I don't know, something Caribbean, although it's not nothing to do with the Caribbean, but Bahia and palm trees and coconuts and beaches. When you hear Portuguese from Brazil, actually I learned Brazilian Portuguese before I learned Portuguese, because I was learning my Portuguese from TV, and when I arrived, all the soap operas were Brazilian. There weren't any Portuguese soap operas. Then they caught on later on. So Portuguese people always say, "Are you Brazilian?" They never guess I'm English.
Here's Brazilian Eduardo saying Brazilians are too loud. I second that with a bit of more laughter there. Brilliant, Eduardo. It's true about the Brazilian Portuguese language. They speak like singing. Yeah, I agree. And just a simple thing, our wine club, if we're being more formally Portuguese, we might say in Europe, saúde. And then we have Rachel in our group who's Brazilian, and she just says saúde. It's all it's much more fluid and moving. Yeah. Brazilians themselves know they don't speak proper. Look at this. Sorry. Anna Lucia's getting stuck in. The Brazilians themselves don't know they don't speak proper correct Portuguese. They themselves love Portuguese correctly spoken from Portugal, from the old place. I knew you'd have started something there with that. But we have 12 minutes to do the original thing, which is the expat chat, and find out. I mean, we've established, haven't you, that you love Portugal. There's no doubt about that. And you've been here long enough and you've had the ups and downs of it to have formed not just a sort of, the honeymoon period with the country, but you've been married to the country effectively, and you've had a child here, and you're in a Portuguese family effectively. You know a lot about it, and still after everything, you appear to have a great fondness for this place, and equally for Coimbra. And I hear your fondness for where you lived in Lisbon as well. What else can you say about Coimbra and people thinking about coming from overseas to Portugal generally and to Coimbra specifically?
Well, this is the land of milk and honey. This is the land of opportunities. And that is good for us expats, because it's so easy to set up a business here, and they're so welcoming to anything they're so hungry for anything new that you want to bring. But it's also a little bit sad that it's so easy for us, because it also is in relation to their culture. Being standing out and being innovative is something that the Portuguese culture is still struggling with. I mean, the younger generation are doing a lot better. But this country, they're very hard workers, and they could economically, this could be a very rich country if you consider how hard these people work. But still there's a lack of self-confidence that may be a side effect, a latent side effect from the dictatorship. I believe it's still because inside the educational system, there's still this great belief in authority, which is changing now. I've done a lot of work in changing that mentality. Empower children, give children a voice. Don't belittle them and stuff like that. But that kind of was inherited from the dictatorship. Stay in your place, don't speak out, don't shine. So that's why it's still a land. When I arrived here, it was basically, like winning the lottery. I mean, I arrived here with a puppet theater and 4 puppets, and within about a month, I was earning €1,000 a month, working only 4 days a week. Why? Because I was the only one who would go to do birthday parties and do a puppet show. There was no competition, you know. It's just like, and I've invented, I don't know, 1,000 different professions. During COVID, I decided to build a fairy garden, and now I have started all kinds of retreats for people of any age to come and spend a weekend with me, and we make miniature furniture and fairies and play in the fairy village and dress up as fairies and laugh our heads off. So that's something. I'm doing a little bit of promoting of my services now.
Yeah, well, while you're doing that, how do people get in touch with you? Let me know, and I'll stick that on the screen.
Yes, so I've got the webpage, which is Escola do Riso, but I'll send you some posters and some videos. If you go to Escola do Riso, there's some parts of the webpage that are in English now. escoladoriso.com, which means the laughter school.
Is that what's done on the screen there? Is that the right spelling?
Yeah. I can't see it. I don't know where. Oh, wait.
We're going to let.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, if you go to where it says kids, because I believe that everybody has a kid inside, you will see a whole list, and then you scroll down, it's all in English or something like that. And you can see all the services I have to offer, which include coaching, all kinds of coaching, laughter, yoga coaching, but also home ed, or even learning Portuguese. Now, when I teach Portuguese, it's oral, and it's through games and songs and laughter, and whatever I do, it's got to be a lot of fun. and Carl, it has been working. I have had, because of COVID, I usually get groups of 2 or 3 people that come and spend the weekend with me, and we just have an amazing time doing loads of different workshops. And this all happened because of COVID. It's like, each tragedy that happens in my life just explodes a whole palace of possibilities. And now I'm doing things I never imagined I would do, which I am enjoying thoroughly. And I kind of feel that they were meant to happen. So just to wrap up where we were chronologically, so I did have that little girl who's now 22 and studying in England. And then I thought I'd try somebody not Portuguese, and I married a German man, and I have a 12-year-old German boy. And now when the fire burnt everything down, we went in a caravan down to Algarve. So I know Algarve very well now. And he never came home. He's still in the caravan Algarve, and we're just friends now. And I'm going to mention again, like I did in your last program, I'm currently looking for a pen pal.
Yeah, we know what that means.
Together because of COVID. But anyways, so yes.
Are you looking for something somewhere in the middle? Because we were talking generalities and stereotypes. Yeah, and we began the show with advice to anyone who takes on a Latin lover. Good evening to you, Steve Merwin. Appreciate your insight on the culture, Joanne. Thanks. Great to have you here, Steve. Good evening to you. And Antonio F said, having fun is a great way of learning. Who else have we missed? Hola, Carl, on the eve of Thanksgiving. Absolutely. And Annalise is not letting it lie. I was a Portuguese tour guide in South Africa to a Brazilian group that came out for the World Cup 2010, and they continuously complimented me on my correct Portuguese. They themselves said they didn't speak it correctly. Okay. Yes, where were we? Yes, Latin lovers. And then a German lover.
Yes, sorry?
There was the Latin lover at first, and then the German one. And when we were saying about, you don't have to find something funny to laugh. It's almost like Germany is the proof of that in the world. I don't know if I just said that, but you've gone from one extreme to another, possibly a very sort of, rigid, perhaps highly engineered culture. No disrespect, it's just a sort of national stereotype from the Latin. Are you looking for something kind of in the middle now and a bit more of a balance in a pen pal?
Funny you should mention that. I have never dated anybody English. I have dated a few Americans when I spent 3 years all over America. I enjoy Americans very much. Very, very nice. I didn't have any problem dating Americans. But yes, I've never dated an Englishman. And I think I owe it to my, heritage to at least give it a try. I mean, us English girls, because of all those Hollywood movies, we do like to go and jump off the deep end and try a Latin passion.
Yes.
And get really burnt in the process. No, actually, the German wasn't a cold fish. He was. Sorry, he's a healer. He's a very sweet man. I had known him for years, and I was so traumatized from having such a violent relationship. I just said to him, look, we've been mates for years, I like you, I know that I'm not going to get scared. How about we team up? And I got up on the stage. Well, because I do everything on the stage. I got married on the stage with all my friends, artists, and I put posters up around the town. Come to my wedding, it's a show. And and I just said, look, I'm marrying him because he's a very nice guy. And we lasted 13 years. It was nice, we have a nice, well brought up 12-year-old boy without any traumas. He's a marvelous kid. I think there's not such a terrible idea to have children with your friends.
Fair enough. I mean, there's a lot of logic in that, for sure.
There's a lot of logic. We have produced. My daughter is wonderful, and she is slightly traumatized from our breakup and all that drama. But she's lovely. She's a wonderful child, and she's a wonderful woman, and will go on to do great things in this world.
Yeah, I'm
and
sure.
My son is a happy-go-lucky boy. He really is. And I am right back where I began when I started Laughter Yoga. I started Laughter Yoga because I was hungry and penniless and in a stone house without electricity or water. And I couldn't move any articulations in my body. And I had a 4-year-old child and a very violent ex who was trying to take the child away and threatening to burn the house in the night, if that's even possible, because I don't think stone walls do burn. And now I've done the full cycle. I've just managed to discover what had happened to me physically this time round. The stone house I've been living in for all these years happened to have a lot of mold in it, and that packed in my immune system, and I got Hashimoto's, which is when your immune system attacks your thyroid. So I'm now recovering from that. That actually got so bad that I couldn't laugh. So about 3 years ago, I physically was incapable of laughing. That was after the fire. And so I thought, well, I've just gone and told everybody for 16 years or 13 years that you can get out of any fix with laughter. But I actually had no energy to get off the sofa. But then the doctors finally found out what it was. And now I have a little bit of that, artificial hormone, but I'm healing. I'm doing, the anti-Hashimoto diet, which is another thing I coach on now, because apparently 1 in 5 people have this Hashimoto thing. But this is a whole program, Carl. We'll go into that another time.
We'll definitely get you back. We'll definitely get you back.
It's become now my new passion. As soon as I realize I've got another big, serious health issue, I'm going to go penniless and start starving again. And this is wonderful, because last time this happened, I discovered Laughter Yoga. So this time, what will I discover? And I have discovered kind of Laughter Yoga for all your senses, because the singing and the art that I've been doing, the sculpture and the fairy villages, I just filled my life with joy in every way possible. And now that is something I help other people do, people that may be undiagnosed at the moment and don't even know that they have Hashimoto's, or people that are really suffering from it. 1 in 5 is a lot of people. It's not the entire humanity, which I usually only do things for the entire humanity, but I've still got the laughter. So I'm still there for everybody. I'm still here for all of you that are out there. And I believe that because I've been here 25 years, I could be useful to coming to this country. I actually have been a human airport. My land has been a human airport. I have lost count of how many families have come and squatted on my land in their caravans until they bought their house. And I don't know how many. At the moment, there is an English family, two English families on my land. I'm in Spain because my stepfather has been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and I'm here doing taking care of him. My mother needed a little break, so I'm taking care of him. We're having a lot of laughter, and he had his second session of radiotherapy today, which is just to make him live a little bit longer. But he's a brilliant man, and he's like, I've had a wonderful life. I popped my clogs, Hey, COVID didn't get me, ha ha ha. You know, and I'm absolutely fine to be with him all the way to the human airport. And I have two lovely families at my house at the moment, looking for land, looking for a home. And I've been helping them with all the bureaucracy and going here and there. It's just something I'm obsessed with, helping people come to this country. So
you're a remarkable human being. Absolutely, Joanne. And I think Sandra agrees with me that, Joanne, you're the perfect antidote during these times. It seems like mum might need to turn in, right? So lots of love to you and your mum and your stepfather. And thank you so much for being here tonight. I mean, it just occurred to me, you know, you live, you love, and you laugh. This is your life.
And I spread light. And I spread light.
And light, let's chuck some light in there as well. Amazing, Joanne. Thank you so much. Representing Portugal so well and telling your fabulous, wonderful story, part of your life there. So go well. Lots of love to you and your family. A difficult time for you there. And thank you so much for being with us tonight for an expat chat. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Carl, and giving me this opportunity to share my services and my stories. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. And what I'll do is I'll leave on the screen a way for people to get in touch. It's the Escola do Riso. And of course, any interesting pen pals should apply via that same website as well.
Anybody between 50 and 55, somebody tall.
Okay, own teeth is quite good, that sort of thing. You might not get that with an English person, of course.
Teeth would be nice. Teeth would be nice. But I'm not too fussy, just somebody kind and yeah, somebody who loves their own space, because I do love my own space. I need my space and time, and so not somebody too needy.
No one too needy. Okay, well, a brilliant note to end on. Beijinhos from Safiro in Porto, and from all of us, Joanne. Thank you so much. Boa noite.
Good night.